Hello, teachers, parents, and educational leaders, and welcome to this episode of Breaking Down the B.E.S.T. Now, during this episode, you will get a peek into the members-only area where I have tons of resources to help you make math fun, make it click, and make it stick. There should be a link somewhere around this video where you can learn more. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's get to it, and let's break down the standard. Welcome to Breaking Down the B.E.S.T, a video series dedicated to breaking down Florida's B.E.S.T standards for math. So grab something to write with and maybe even a snack. This looks good. And don't forget to put a smile on your face. There you go, I see you. And let's dive into today's B.E.S.T standard. Hello everyone, and welcome. My name is Sarah McCarthy, and I am super excited that you are here. Thank you so much for taking time out of your crazy, busy, non-stop schedule to join me on this episode of Breaking Down the B.E.S.T, where today we're going to break down this standard right here. It's MA.3.AR.2.1. MA stands for mathematics, 3 for third grade, AR for algebraic reasoning, and then 2.1 is our standard for today. Today, this standard says that we will restate or rewrite a division problem as a missing factor problem, which means changing it from division, into multiplication. I love this because we're using the relationship between multiplication and division. By the way, this document that I'm marking up all over is not something that I created. It's something that the Florida Department of Education releases to the public. Anybody can use it, and I definitely suggest looking at it too and analyzing it. Basically, I'm showing you what I do to break down a standard, to look at the important parts of it in order to create the resources for you that are standards based. Okay? This example right here says 56 divided by 7, there's our division, equals what unknown number, and restating it as a missing factor, plugging that question mark in for a missing factor. It can be written as 7 times what equals 56. We need to make sure that we are limiting the factors within 12, meaning going no higher than 12 times 12, or 144 divided by 12. Here, the symbolic representation of the missing factor, you can use any symbol or letter. It could be a question mark, it could be a letter, it could be a box, it could be anything to represent that it's missing. Maybe a triangle to show that it's a missing factor problem. We have some connecting benchmarks here. 3.NSO.2.4 and 2.2 both involve multiplication and division. Third grade is heavy in multiplication and division, as it has been for years, even in our Common Core days. But for AR 1.2, we've got 1 and 2 step word problems. And the one coming up, I wrote this one down as 3.AR.2.2. We have, I was looking at problems, are true or false equations, which are awesome and can definitely be related to what we're doing today. Okay. Equation, just know that there is an equal sign involved, and factor is what we are multiplying by. So n would represent our missing factor. In first grade, let's talk about some vertical alignment, and going way back to first grade, they should have done the same kind of thing, but with adding and subtracting. So if you look at the standard in first grade, it says restate a subtraction problem as a missing add-in problem showing the relationship with adding and subtracting. And then in second grade, true or false equations with adding and subtracting. So now we're using that knowledge, that relationship of adding and addition and subtraction, and focusing it on multiplication and division. In fourth grade, they will have true or false equations, so that's where we're heading, and lots of multiplying and dividing in 4th and 5th grade too. Moving on to the purpose and instructional strategies section. Some things that jumped out at me. It said here, the purpose of this benchmark is to build students' fluency with division facts. Yes! The connection is huge. And it says here, division is often more challenging. We just mentioned that, right? It's often more challenging. And that students have learned a similar strategy when relating subtraction to addition in first grade. It's important that we build and use fact families. And there's so much intentionality in taking on the best. That's what I mentioned right there. That's what that stands for, taking on the best, which I'll show you what you have access to with your membership that aligns with this standard in just a second. Common misconceptions or errors that students might have difficulty understanding that the quotient, where's my highlighter? The quotient of a division equation will become a factor in a multiplication equation. What they're saying here is that students get confused that what we're trying to figure out, the answer, then becomes the missing factor in a multiplication problem. That can give them some confusion for sure. I definitely suggest taking a look at this, strategies for tiered support, if you have some students who are struggling to get them up to the level of where they need to be. And I said here, see how we're using this as a fact family? I just wanted to point out, like, we could say it equals an empty box, and then to show that this box is what we're trying to figure out, the unknown. So if it were 7, highlighting or boxing that missing value to show where that missing factor is constantly showing up would be great. And also to present it like this, where we have the quotient or the product on the other side, on the left side, presenting it like that too, to show the power, to show the purpose of an equal sign. So make sure that you're doing that too. This can definitely tend to trip them up, and you'll see why in a second, especially these division problems. Okay. Again, I'm a big fan and just boxing whatever the unknown was when we're creating those fact families to help students connect it. You can use N, I mentioned using a box, variables, or a question mark. And these are some types of problems that they might ask to help us understand what the standard looks like in action. Okay? So all about rewriting division as a multiplication missing factor problem. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a peek at what you have access to with your membership. All right, so we go to members, enter here, taking on the best, which grade, third grade, which strand. We are working on the AR strand, and we are working on 2.1 division as a missing factor. So these are your bronze resources. We have some video lessons here that you can share. You just click the link. A lot of counties will block Vimeo videos, but you do have the ability to download it too. So just so you are aware of that. So here we have division as a missing factor problem, where we will be using an array. And here's what that printable looks like. Okay, and we're using N as that missing factor, restate as a missing factor problem, and then we're listing all the fact families and modeling it out with the drawing. It is all good stuff. Here, division as a missing factor problem, using the strategy of skip counting to solve it. Same kind of thing, just we're skip counting this time instead of drawing an array. And those are your 2 video lessons there. It's a pretty straightforward standard. And then if we go to the silver, you have access to the bronze, of course, and you also have access to the math misconception mystery video that's right here. And I'll show you when we get to that part of what printables you have. So here's the video lesson. We know because of that icon. Then we've got extra practice that looks just like what we did in the video lesson. Another video lesson, extra practice with skip counting. Here is our math task. So putting it all together, create one division problem, write a multiplication equation that can be used to find the quotient, use N to represent the unknown factor. You can see clearly we are addressing this standard. What is the quotient? And list the other related multiplication and division equations below. So just putting it all together again. Then for the math misconception mystery video, this is the problem that they'll solve. So you just click play and I'll walk you through the whole thing in the video. And it's great for a whole group discussion, but students will solve this either independently or on their own. After the students solve it, they will watch as 4 characters solve it. Those characters are just me dressed up in silly costumes, And of those 4 characters, 3 of them will make a mistake that students commonly make, and only 1 of them solves it correctly. So students really have to pay attention to every word, every detail, every drawing, every equation to see who is correct. Once they find out who is correct, they fill out their detective report here on page 2, and then they evaluate the work of the other characters from where their mistakes were made. Okay? Super duper fun. Now for the goal plan, you have a mini assessment, McCarthy Math 155 lessons, and this video ad-free. It's just a little bonus perk for being a gold member. These videos are available on YouTube, of course, but they have ads. Here it's ad-free. And then for your gold resources, here's your mini assessment with a variety of question types. You can see that we are using the question mark for the unknown value here, an N for the unknown value here, a J for the unknown value there, and again, an M. So showing up with a variety of question types and the way that the missing value is being represented. Okay, answer key is right there. Your breaking down the B.E.S.T video will be right there once I finish editing this video. And then for McCarthy Math 155, let me go back. This was the daily intervention program that was aligned to the Common Core standards. Now we've moved on. It wasn't enough to support you with the B.E.S.T standards, but there are lots of videos here to help your students to build their confidence muscles, okay? So let me see. I would say right here with division, if you click on division, I'm pretty sure there are some in here. Here are multiplication and division as inverse operations. And then if you scroll down a little bit more, I'm pretty sure, yes, multiplication and division with missing values. So you can see it's the same kind of thing, just more practice, more video lessons to walk your students through it. Okay? So that is definitely a big perk with the gold resources, is that all the access to those 155 video lessons for each grade level. That's why it's called McCarthy Math 155, 155 video lessons. So yeah, I think that's it for what you have access to. Before we close out this video, I just want to thank you for all that you do for education, for your students. I know that this profession is super duper tough. I know it's a lot. It's overwhelming. It's exhausting. But what you are doing, it really does matter. So thank you for showing up every day and giving your best and showing your students what giving your best looks like. Because in order for them to take on the best version of themselves, they need a leader like you who is also working towards the best version of yourself. So thank you for all that you do. I really do value your time, and I thank you for being here today. I love supporting you. Thank you for letting me be a part of your journey, and I'll see you next time. Okay, so I know that I just said goodbye for now, but I'm gonna ask you to do one more thing, okay? If you enjoyed this episode, please consider sharing it with your teacher friends or other leaders in education. That's how I get to continue doing what I love to do, which of course is supporting you all to the best of my ability. All right, for real now. Bye.